rules governing an offer or the characteristics of a valid offer. So an offer can be made orally, in writing, or by conduct. Offers do not always have to be written. They can be spoken or implied through action. For example, a taxi stopping for a passenger, it implies an offer to provide transport. So the passenger has a right to either accept the offer or reject it. The second rule is that an offer must be firm and final. The offerer must not merely be initiating negotiation from which an agreement may or may not result. He must be prepared to implement his or her promise, if such is the wish of the other party. In case the other party accepts, the offerer must be prepared to implement their actions. So an offer must be conclusive in nature and must leave no room for further negotiations. So the offerer must be ready to enter into a contract without further negotiations. It should not be a mere invitation to negotiate. For example, saying I'll sell my phone to you for $300 is a firm offer, while saying I might sell my phone for around $300 is not an offer. So it must be firm and final. Then the third rule is that an offer can be made to an individual, it can be made to a group of persons, or it can be made to the public at large. So offers are not limited to specific individuals. They can be directed to a wider audience. For example, if a store advertises a discount on products for all customers, so it has been made to a wider audience. So it's not limited to an individual or a group. So the case of Kali versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company in 1893, the Smoke Ball Company, who is the defendant, and Mrs. Kali is the plaintiff. So the Smoke Ball Company advertised that they would pay £100 to anyone who used their product as instructed. Their product was called Smoke Ball. Who used their product Smoke Ball and still caught influenza. So they were to pay £100 to anyone who caught influenza after using their product according to the instructions. So Mrs. Kali followed the instructions and still got sick. So the company refused to pay her, claiming that it was not a serious contract. So court held that the company's advertisement was a unilateral offer to the public, which became binding when someone fulfilled the conditions, and the condition was to use the smoke ball as instructed. So this case established that advertisements can be legally binding offers if they show a serious intention to create a contract. So the defendant couldn't deny liability because this was a general offer. An offer can be made to the whole world and accepted by anyone who comes forward and performs the conditions, even without prior notification of acceptance. The Carbolic Smoke Ball Company had to pay Mrs. Kali the £100 as they promised. Another rule we have is that an offer must be communicated to the offeree. So an offer is only valid if it is communicated to the offeree. The offeree must know about the offer before they accept it. So if someone fulfills the terms of an offer without knowing its existence, they cannot claim any benefits from it. For example, a person advertises a reward for finding their lost dog. Then someone finds and returns the dog without knowing about the reward. They cannot later claim for that reward because they didn't know about it. So an offer must be communicated to the offeree, and in case they accept the offer without knowing about its existence, then they cannot claim for anything. This was illustrated in the case of Fish versus That Name. So in this case, a reward of $200 was offered for the arrest of a criminal. So the plaintiff was unaware of the reward, but then they arrested the criminal. Later, he learned about the reward and tried to claim for it. So court ruled against him, stating that since he was unaware of the offer when he acted, he could not claim for the reward. So this case confirms that an offer must be communicated before it can be accepted. Yeah, so if someone didn't know about it, then they can't claim for anything. Then another rule we have is that an offer must be lawful. So a person cannot offer to perform something illegal, for example, murder someone. Then lastly, an offer may be subject to any terms and conditions. So an offer can include terms and conditions. If the conditions are not met, the offer becomes invalid and no contract is formed. For example, a university offers admission to a student on the condition that they pass their final exams. If the student fails, then the offer is no longer valid. So an offer may be subject to any terms and conditions. So those are the rules of a valid offer. It must be lawful. It may be subject to any terms and conditions. It must be communicated to the offeree. Then it can be made to an individual, a group of persons, or public at large. Then the offer must be firm and final. And lastly, the offer can be oral, written, or by conduct. Yeah, thanks for watching.